Face more drama. I mean, it's Manchester United. We have a good results in pre-season. Things are looking positive with Ten Hag, but then the drama hits. Chelsea, Barcelona putting stories out that they're expecting an imminent bid from Chelsea for Frenkie de Jong, where he'd prefer to go. And then Piers Morgan on talkSPORT saying that he's had messages from Ronaldo saying that he won't play for Manchester United again. So two very big stories for us to get our teeth in tonight. And also, look, what a fantastic interview with James Ducker we had on the channel earlier. If you've not seen it, it's been out for a few hours now. James Ducker, very, very good contacts with the club, speaking openly about a lot. I'll summarise some of that, but watch the interview, 20 minutes, really, really good. Big shout out to James Ducker for doing that with Adam and Ryan over on the tour. Fantastic. But I just want to address something straight away, because we have a very honest community on the United Stand, and I was playing Twitch this afternoon. I was playing FIFA on Twitch this afternoon, and a few people in the chat, when I'm playing FIFA, it's quite a bit of back and forth, bit of banter. And people were saying, do you know that people on Twitter are blaming you for Maguire being booed, Mark? And I was like, whatever, I'm playing FIFA, I don't care. And then I had to think about it, and I thought, hold on a minute. You know what? Actually, sometimes you've got to stand up for yourself and say, I'm not taking this. I don't agree with Maguire being booed today. I really don't. And I've always said I wouldn't have sold Maguire this summer. So I don't know why suddenly I'm the cheerleader for Harry Maguire hate and being booed. I got blamed for the bloody bomb threat last season as well. I mean, I am not God. I am not the Pied Piper. I do not set the tone for people. And if people think I do, then it's a very dangerous society, isn't it? And also, I don't agree with the booing. But what I will say is, and I'll say it right here, right now, when Paul Pogba got booed at the end of last season, I didn't agree with that either. But I don't remember the outcry for it. I don't remember this, Goldbridge is feeding the Pogba hates. I don't remember that. But when it's Harry Maguire, the English player, it always is a different story, isn't it? So if you want my opinion on it, I don't agree with the booing either way. I don't agree with booing Pogba. I don't agree with booing Maguire. But I find it very interesting that I and others get blamed for Maguire being booed, and it's a terrible thing that happens. But when Paul Pogba gets booed, that's absolutely fine. Remember, tell me this. How many trophies has Harry Maguire won at Manchester United? Because Paul Pogba won the Europa League in 2017 and he bloody scored in the final. So, you know what? When we're handing out trophies for who's the more important player, it's fine to boo somebody who actually won something with the club, but booing somebody who has been pretty bad last season, that's suddenly a criminal charge. I do not agree with booing any Man United player. If somebody wants to do it, that's up to them. I'm not here to tell you can't do it. I'm not a voice for the fans. But I don't agree with my name or this community being cast as something negative because people decide to boo a player in Australia. I don't agree with it. We've not been negative for a very long time. I backed Solskjaer longer than most. I backed Mourinho longer than most. And I'm firmly behind Ten Hag and have been way before anybody thought it was cool to do it. So, look, I will stick up for myself on this one. It's got sod all to do with me why Harry Maguire gets hate. I don't want players to be hated. It's not personal. I call players out because I think they're a bit shit at times. And that's it. And if they play well, I'll applaud them as well. I think this fan base, there is a minority in this fan base that just are so far up their own arse. They justify things and then do the opposite. I mean, these people who are sticking up for Maguire, I guarantee they're on Twitter slagging off Ronaldo, who's player of the year and one of the best players we've got. But fuck Ronaldo off. We've got Martial, Sancho and Rashford now. Speak to a month ago and they'll go get rid of Martial. He's crap and moody. I'm apparently the negative one. I'm the toxic one. Yeah, I'm quite consistent with my opinion. I say it, I state it, I stick by it because that's what I believe you should do. I cannot believe what I mean, there just seems to be in this fan base some people who are so holier than thou. Their farts do not smell and they change their opinion like the bloody weather and they blame everybody else for it. They're a super fan, but they contradict themselves ridiculously. I've heard people today saying, oh yeah, we've got Martial, Rashford and Sancho now. Ronaldo can piss off. He's clearly the problem. And I'm like, oh my God, Ronaldo's the problem because our front three are playing well in pre-season. Rashford was the problem 3 weeks ago. Martial should never play for Manchester United again 3 weeks ago. Now, the front three are playing well in pre-season. Can't just enjoy it. We can't just enjoy it and be positive. It's got to be somebody's fault. Malacia plays at left back. Fuck off Luke Shaw. There's always got to be an agenda. Look, I don't want to sell Harry Maguire. I don't want to sell Scott McTominay. And I don't want to sell Fred. Because to be honest with you, that squad is very bare. I don't want to sell any of those players. But I'm really sorry if I thought Maguire was a bit shit last year. I'm really sorry if I think 4 times Champions League winning centre-back and one of the best in the world, Varane, is better than Maguire. Oh my God, it must be me causing the boos. What a load of shit. And as for blaming Ronaldo, oh, the reason we were rubbish last year is now because of Ronaldo. If we play Martial and Sancho and Rashford, everything's fine. Oh, it wasn't Martial who was fucking rubbish last year, was it? Couldn't even be arsed. It wasn't Rashford who was walking around in the Manchester derby. It was Ronaldo's fault. Player of the year, 18 goals. It's Ronaldo's fault we were crap. It's Ronaldo's fault that the defence couldn't mark a bit of paper with dirty hands. It's Ronaldo's fault that our midfield got dominated more than a chicken gets dominated in a fight with an octopus. I mean, it's just, people talk about negativity, and I can't believe what these people are saying. They are so fucking flip-flop. It's ridiculous. And I know it's a minority, but I draw the line at being blamed for people booing fucking Harry Maguire. I draw the line at people saying the reason we were crap last season is because of Ronaldo. It's bloody stupid. It's absolutely stupid. And I will call it out because you know what? I've got loads of friends who are United fans, all sorts of different people. Some of them don't like fan content, but we'll have a conversation. I'm not having this bollocks. It's got nothing to do with me, and it's got nothing to do with you if somebody decides to boo a player, and I don't agree with it. And it's got nothing to do with the reason, you know the reason why we're playing really well in pre-season? Do you want to know why we're playing really well in pre-season? It's not because Ronaldo's not here. This manager wants Ronaldo here. You know what? And it's breaking news. Get ready for this. You might want to sit down. You know why we're playing well this year? Because we've got a proper coach. It's as simple as that. Last season, we were parking the bus and hitting teams on the break. And now we've got a bloody coach. A coach that's not interested in interviews. A coach that's not interested in brands. A coach that is working those players night and day. And they've got nowhere else to go other than get on with it and prove everybody wrong from last season. And I'm all here for that. But I do not get why some people in this fan base have to be either or. It's like Sith legacy, if you like Star Wars. I'm Team Malacia or I'm Team Shaw. I'm Team Martial or I'm Team Ronaldo. I'm Team Maguire or I'm Team Varane. And it's like, you don't need to be Team any of them. You just have to be all 20 players. Who do you prefer to play up front? And if they get injured, give the other one a chance. Or if they're out of form, I love the Malacia Shaw thing. I'm a big fan of Shaw, but I really like Malacia. I couldn't give two shits who he picks at left back. I haven't really got a preference. I'd probably start the season with Shaw. But if he goes with Malacia, I won't be going, bloody hell, get him out, the bold Dutch twat. I don't care. I really don't care. I want 20 players who are all liked, all playing well, and all interacting with each other. That's what I want. And I think everybody wants that. And if that's toxic and negative, then God knows what these people who are constantly trying to... They're just constantly trying to divide this fan base. Oh, Adam was on Sky Sports today. He's on the other side of the world. He's interviewing people like Charlie Savage, James Ducker, getting on with people. Manchester, he's from Manchester. He's actually from Manchester, if that matters. He's on Sky Sports and he basically says, you know what? Pre-season doesn't get these players back in the good books. They've got to go out there and do it when it matters, and they've got to win back our trust. In the replies, he doesn't speak for me. He's not a proper fan. He doesn't speak for me. Did he start the fucking interview going, I speak for all United fans? It's petty. And this is, you know what? You know why it gets me so hot and bothered? It is hot. But you know why it gets me so hot and bothered? I'll happily sit down and have a conversation with any United fan. And if they've got a different opinion to me, that's fine. But they wonder why the Glazers are in charge. The Glazers are in charge because there's too many United fans obsessed with attacking other United fans and blaming them. They might want to take a look in the mirror and see why this club is where it is. We've been owned for nearly 2 decades by people who don't even support the club, who just want to make money out of the club. And the reason they get away with it is because people like you, and I'm not talking about you, the community, but people like you spend all your bloody time slagging off other United fans. That's why the Glazers win. Anyway, let's get on with the show. How and why is Maguire being portrayed as the victim? Look, I don't think Maguire should be booed. I really don't. But I'm not taking the fucking blame for it. Full stop. It's part of this constant state of victimhood where honest criticism is mistaken for bullying. Well, Gary Neville said it the other day, innit? It's bullying if you don't want Maguire to be captain. It's bloody ridiculous. Not one of the journalists who had faced with Eric Ten Hag had the balls to ask, would you ever want a player who didn't want to join the club, says Paul. Interesting question, actually. That is an interesting question. And Sean Turner said, these are the same superfans that call people who don't live in England or Manchester plastic fans, so why are they worried about fans in Australia booing? What contradiction, says Sean Turner. I just want the fan base to have a bit of unity. Like, family members, friends down the pub, do you all sit there like robots and agree that everything? You know, if an attractive person walks in, do you all go, oh yeah, or does one of you go, not my type? Oh, get out, you bloody toxic twat. Go home, go back and watch Love Island, bloody idiot. Doesn't agree with us? No. The beauty of life is disagreeing. Okay, let's get on with the show. If Rashford doesn't improve, we should maybe play Bruno on the right wing, says Fionton. And Mark, people are jealous, you have to ignore, says Sulite. Well, I don't ignore it because I don't like people spreading bullshit and lies when I actually said I wouldn't sell Maguire this summer. I believe there's a player in there. I'd just rather play Varane and Lisandro Martinez. And also, I don't agree with booing. And I tell you what, I didn't agree with Pogba being booed. And I'll say it again. How many trophies has fucking Harry Maguire won for Manchester United? 0. How many trophies did Paul Pogba win for United? He actually scored in the Europa League final. But no, it's all right to boo Pogba because we didn't like his agent. And we probably don't like that he's French or whatever other bloody stupid reason it was. But Maguire's fine. He can have a crap season. We can't boo him. We shouldn't be booing anybody. I think Man United fans shouldn't be booing anybody. I firmly agree that this football club, we shouldn't be booing players. But Fellaini got booed. Pogba's been booed. Maguire's been booed. You know, is it the modern world? England fans booed. I just don't think it's that deep, really. The best way is to just try and be better. Everybody try and be better. Mark, if Rash, I've done that one. Hi, Mark. Seen Adam's interview. It was the best interview I've seen on Sky in a long time. You know what, as well, before I get into the headlines here, Adam was on Sky, and I thought, you know, it wouldn't matter if it was Adam off the United stand or John from some fanzine. It wouldn't bother me. You know what he said was spot on. These fans in Australia and in Thailand, they're up at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. All around the world, they're up at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You try getting up at 3 or 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to watch a game of football when you're tired and watching some of that shit last season. I'm sorry, I don't disagree with fans who are saying, look, I'm very excited about Ten Hag. Pre-season's going really well, but I haven't forgiven these players. Some people want to give these players a clean slate. Well done. Well done. Doesn't mean you're a super fan. Doesn't mean you're a better Man United fan than people who say, you know what, I'm excited, but these players have got a lot of trust to learn back and they can earn it when the season starts. Doesn't mean you're not positive. Doesn't mean you're not behind Ten Hag. It just means you've got a different opinion. Ducker saying Maguire will start the season is terrifying. He's not and never will be good enough, says Noah. Look, I don't agree with Maguire being booked. I thought he was okay today. I saw Laurie Whitwell say something about him playing well. I thought he was okay today. But you probably can confuse it with playing well because he didn't make a mistake and neither did Lindelof. I just, from the bottom of my heart, in some complete and utter honesty, if I thought Maguire was better, I would say it. But if I thought Lindelof was better, I'd say it. But Lisandro Martinez has to play off the left and Rafael Varane is the best centre-back we've got. He's arguably one of the best centre-backs in the world still. That's my stance. If somebody thinks Maguire's better than Varane, I'd love to have a pint with you. I'll buy the pint. In fact, we'll have 3 or 4 pints because I'd have to be very pissed to agree with you. I cannot understand how you would think that. But, you know, each to their own. Everyone's got an opinion. Sakin says you don't need to justify yourself. These are shites of the same people who abuse Saka and Rashi. Also, Morton says, according to managing Barca, another 200 million is to be received this week. We're going to talk about this now. United we stand, divided we fall. Disagree with the booing, but players need to win the trust back, says Icrits. Welcome to the United Stand Members Club, Dean. And hi, Mark. Is it Nanny? Says Rob. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, I do. I do know what you're talking about. Very, very good. Okay, look. Let's get on with the show. So look, we're going to hit in with the show. So sometimes more than transfer news, there is an important conversation to have. And look, we all want Man United to be good. You know what? If Man United win the league, I really couldn't give a shit about Darren from Solihull who can't stand me, who's a United fan, or Jim from Norwich, or Dave from bloody Salford. I couldn't give a shit if they don't like me. I just want United to be good. That's all I want. That's all we all want. Why do we have to compete about whose opinion that matters? Chelsea are preparing a formal offer for Manchester United target Frenkie de Jong. Barcelona know that Chelsea are preparing a formal proposal for Frenkie de Jong. They've expressed their desire to sign him in the last few hours, and move to Manchester United doesn't seduce the player. So these are coming in from apparently tier 1 sources close to Barcelona. Now, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. So, you know, you can do what you like with it. Isha, welcome to the Members Club. I just don't believe it. I really don't. We've been here before. This happened a couple of weeks ago. I don't think it makes any sense for Chelsea to want to buy Frankie de Jong. They've got Kovacic, Jorginho, Conor Gallagher and Kante. Why would they spend? And considering we've agreed a fee of £69 million, as James Ducker said earlier, €85 million deal, are Chelsea going to give them 70 million then? Like, what? Why would Chelsea spend 70 million on Frankie de Jong when they don't really need a player in that position at the moment? So I don't believe this. I could be completely wrong, but nobody close to Manchester United has come out and discussed this. Now, bear in mind, it is 5 a.m. in Melbourne and a lot of them will be flying to Perth, so maybe that's something to do with it. But there are still people based in the UK. Nobody close to Chelsea has confirmed it, and it's all coming from Barcelona. So I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think it's always a risk. It's always a risk, but all I'm going to say is I remain 90% sure that we'll sign him. I don't think anything has changed, but what I will say is this. If he did go to Chelsea, United have messed up this transfer window, and whoever's responsible has to take it on the chin, because the risk with any delay is that somebody could swoop in and do something about it, or somebody could change their mind, or somebody could find a way not to sell. That's always the way, isn't it? You know, if you're stood there at the counter and you're, you know, deciding whether to buy a bag of sweets, and then it's the last bag of sweets, and someone walks in and says, I'll pay more and I'll take it now, and they do the deal. You've only got yourself to blame for how long it's taken. So I think that, you know, obviously it's not impossible this happens, but it's also the second time in 2 weeks that Chelsea have been linked to this. Now, Chelsea are bloody linked to everything at the moment, and if de Jong was to go to Chelsea, it would be very disappointing. And it would be a very good signing for Chelsea. I'm not going to knock it. Welcome to the Members Club, Brock and David. But multiple reports are doing the round. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, Sacking. But I don't believe this. I don't think you need to get stressed about this. I think the Frankie de Jong deal is very stressful in its own nature because of how long we're taking. Even James Ducker, talking to Adam on the video earlier, said, look, I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't think Man United know when it's going to happen. But I really don't think this is anything to massively concern yourself about. I tell you what I think is more concerning, actually, just taking it away from this Chelsea story for a minute, because I really don't believe it. I was listening to that interview with James Ducker, and look, I'm not going to take the best bits from it because you need to watch the interview. It's 20 minutes long and there's loads in there. But what he did say was a clarity on what was coming out last night, and he said that if you think about Jurgen Klopp, and there was two things he said that I thought were brilliant from James Ducker about comparisons with Jurgen Klopp. The first one he said is, if you think about Jurgen Klopp, he really wanted Virgil van Dijk, and he didn't get him in the summer. They got him in the January. I think they paid £75 million for him in the January, and I think Van Dijk ended up almost on strike with Southampton and didn't play much for them between the September and when he signed for Liverpool. But James Ducker was saying that on that, Klopp really, really wanted Van Dijk. And when they didn't get him in the summer, they didn't go for an alternative. He waited to get Van Dijk. So he used that as an example with Ten Hag's almost obsession with Frankie de Jong. And he again said, look, if he didn't get Frankie de Jong, it might be that he goes, I'll use what I've got. I'll coach somebody that I've got rather than go for an alternative. So all these fans that are saying, let's go and get Ruben Neves, let's go and get Yuri Tillemans, I think it's becoming more and more clear. And look, when James Ducker or Laurie Whitwell or, you know, a couple of other journalists start talking like that, you think, well, look, it might just be their opinion, or they might actually be getting some quite good information on this. And I think there is certainly a chance that actually it's all or nothing with Frankie de Jong. If we don't get him, that money goes back into the Glazers' bank account and we don't buy anybody. And look, people won't agree with that and they won't like it because it's not spending the money that's there. And I completely agree with that stance. But also, it just shows you Ten Hag's obsession with this player and why we've been obsessed with it all summer, and why, if it did fall through, of course you've got to laugh, well, cry, but, you know, ridicule Murta and Arnold for being in Barcelona and not getting the deal done and being pictured there. But also I think Ten Hag has to take some responsibility as well. Not in the sense that you go, Ten Hag's a crap manager, not like that. But, you know, life is never good and bad. It's never black and white. There's always loads of in between, isn't there? You know, it's never red and green. There's amber in between. And I think that, you know, we have been very obsessed with this De Jong deal, and that's why we need to get it done. Because if we get it done, we can understand why Ten Hag was obsessed and whether he was right to be obsessed. But if we're obsessed and it doesn't happen, we'll never know. We'll just know failure, that it didn't happen, and then we'll be left with Eriksen, Donny, Fred, and McTominay. And I think we would struggle then, because the midfield, you know, as I said earlier, that midfield last season, it was like watching a chicken in a boxing match against an octopus. It got dominated, got beaten up by everybody. So we do need to get this De Jong deal done. But I think it's looking more and more likely that if we don't get De Jong, we don't get anyone, which is interesting, isn't it? Multiple reports doing the rounds about us offering a fee plus lead to Ajax for Anthony. How true do you think this could be, Mark? Sakin, I'd love it to be true. Funnily enough, European lad on Twitter who's an Ajax fan, he's not very happy with the way Ajax are playing at the moment, and he's not very happy with their right backs, and he's on about how they desperately need a right back. Ethan Laird would fit the profile of Ajax perfectly. You know, he's a young player. Go to Ajax, play regularly, Champions League football, couple of years there. If you do well, Ajax will sell you. Come back to the Premier League, go to the Bundesliga, whatever. So it's a very good move for Ethan Laird, who's got no career path at United at the moment. And if I was Ethan Laird, I'd much rather go to Ajax and play as a starter than go to bloody Bournemouth and be backup or whatever like that. He's got 1 year left on his deal, though. And I don't think you can realistically ask for anything more than 10 million for Ethan Laird. So 10 million off 85 million that they want for Anthony, it still, I think, makes it unpalatable for Manchester United. But we'll see. It might be an angle. It might be a lever. Chelsea ain't going to enter this mess with Barca. Remember, Barca came to Manchester United and Ten Hag is, so I'm not worried, says Ray Cole. Good point. I feel 10-year-old kid can negotiate better than Manchester United board. Believe in Eric Ten Hag, says Nandan. Look, I'm really enjoying the show tonight. I hope everybody else is as well. It's got a vibe of passion. It's got a vibe of determination. And I think these shows sometimes go down in folklore for the United stand. So well done if you're part of it. Make sure you smash a like on the video if you're enjoying it too. Get your comments in. And make sure you subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Get involved. We're on the road to 400k now, remember. Just before I wrap up on Van Dijk, I want to move on to some different things. But he also said, James Ducker, that, I mean, James Ducker still sounded very confident that United would do it. He, you know, effectively saying that Barcelona need to sell. They've got to sell De Jong. You know, the current financial situation means they have to sell him. They can't register all of their players, and also financial fair play. They've got a huge wage bill. So and also Barcelona outlets tonight saying there's pressure on Barcelona to sell Frenkie de Jong, which is maybe why they're trying to provoke Chelsea into a deal. Because, you know, I think what I've always said about de Jong and why I'm 90% sure he'll come to United, there's many reasons why I'm very sure. Some of it's inside knowledge, some of it's just outside public perception, whatever. But one thing I'm very, very sure of is that they will sell De Jong. Now, whether he ends up at Man United, which I think he will, or he ends up at bloody PSG or Chelsea or Bayern Munich, he'll end up somewhere. Barcelona need to sell him. He's their most valuable player that they can sell, and that's why they're trying to sell him. The fee and the deal for Frenkie is agreed, though. It's only Frenkie who's stalling the deal at the moment, says David, and we know why he's doing that. It's because he's owed money. And again, James Ducker said that as well, didn't he? He said, look, he's owed it's the money. Everybody knows it's the money. Unless T in Eric Ten Hag stands for Tuchel, there is absolutely no way De Jong signs for Chelsea, says Rob. Mark, what is United doing to delay this deal? It was always between Frenkie de Jong and Barca, wasn't it? Just asking, says Shiam. I think you're right. And I'm really loving the channel, Mark. Adam was great earlier. We really need De Jong. The game is won in midfield, says Stay Cool, says Ashton. Look, you know, I just want to say, before we move on to the next topic, I'm confident we'll get De Jong. I'm not worried about Chelsea. Things can change. That's why I'm 90%. I'm not 100%. There's always a little bit of a gap in the door where things can go wrong. But, you know, I am confident that deal will get done. And I just want to say as well, it's, you know, sometimes it's good to say these things. The community we've built, and it's always been a worldwide community, because that's what United is. It's a worldwide football club. Whether you're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch a match or whatever you do, this is a worldwide club and it's a worldwide fan channel. And I'm never, you know, there's lots of things that are going to change in the future, but this channel will never stop being about you, the fans. It is. It always was. That's what it is. And I look at today and I think, you know what? We start off with a report in the morning, a transfer show from Adam out in Australia. We then go to a watch along for a few hours, and we're all watching the game together, looking at the tactics. It's great. We then go to a match reaction where we're doing interactive player ratings. We then have Charlie Savage on the show for a couple of minutes, giving us an interview. We then get James Ducker, a journalist very close to Man United, talking about transfers. Then we come back at 8 o'clock for an interactive community show. I'm really proud of what we've achieved as a channel. I'm really proud of what we've achieved as a community. Some of you will have been with us for years. Some of you might have only been with us for hours, but it's amazing what we've achieved. And there will always be imitators. There'll always be copiers. There'll always be different things, but imitation is the best form of flattery, isn't it? The reality is we're the originals. The reality is that this community is just fantastic, and I love it when I love people like Robert McCormack who disagrees with me. I love it that Sean Turner comes out with great things, or Clarky Red appears every now and again with a tactical bit of genius. And the many other people that get involved. It's fantastic what we've built from nothing, absolutely nothing, with not a pound from a media company or anybody else backing us or anything like that. It's amazing what we've done, because it is pure and it's not always correct and it is always passionate, but it's amazing. It's amazing. And there was a point today where I looked back at the content and I thought, bloody hell, if you'd said this to me 7 years ago, watch along, match reaction with interactivity player ratings, an interview with a United player, and then a journalist, and then we're back at 8 o'clock to talk about the club that we love. It's amazing, absolutely amazing, and it will always be because of you. Will always be because of you. Amazing. Even if we start the season extremely well, we have so little depth in every position. All it takes is one bad injury. You know what, Myron? I'm on that page. I really am. Somebody at the end of the match reaction today came out with that we don't need to buy a right back. We've got Delo, and I was like, I can't subscribe to that view. I really can't, because could play 60 games. Is Delo going to play Thursday, Sunday, 8 games a month, not get injured, not go into bad form? It's not going to happen. You've got to have two. We do need a right back. And you know what? It's also a lazy, weak mentality to say we don't need a right back, because it's basically just giving what we gave to Wan-Bissaka, no competition, you'll play every week. That was what Solskjaer did. You're never going to get drops, you're never going to get rotated. If you play well, good. If you play bad, you still get picked. Look at what Luke Shaw's got at left back. He knows he might not start. He also knows if he has a bad game, he won't start. That's what you need at Man United. You've got to have competition for places. And I think you're absolutely correct that what if Rashford starts playing well or gets injured? We're going to pick Elanga. What if Sancho gets injured? Who's going to play on the right? What if Martial gets injured and Ronaldo's left? We are short in a number of positions. And I think Ten Hag's done a great job so far, but he really is making this team work hard, which means we might pick up more injuries. Ivan says, Mark, can United not file a complaint against Barca to UEFA if they're stalling the deal, waiting for United to pay the deferred wages? I don't think it works like that, Ivan. I don't think it does. Been here for years, Mark, and as long as you're here, we will be here. Crack on, mate. The haters make us better, says Matt. And Donny for Anthony and 45 million their way. Adam says, could be a route, but would weaken our midfield further. That's from Adam. I've been watching the United stand for 5 years and I almost always disagree with you. Still, it's raw and not all this pre-recorded. Much love, Goldbridge this Sunday. Great. I absolutely love that people disagree, or at least it generates a conversation. Just go back. I want to talk about this Ronaldo thing, but just to go back to that conversation there. I mean, I don't know. It's always about what people think, but did you not think that for 15 minutes today we were amazing after half time? I thought first half we were decent, but we didn't create enough chances. We had good possession, we controlled the ball, but we didn't control the game, if you know what I mean. We controlled the ball, but we didn't really make Palace scared. We scored one good goal, and then we didn't really create a chance after that. If Palace had got a penalty or a lucky corner deflection, it's 1-1 at half-time. We didn't dominate the game, we dominated possession. But I thought in the first 15 minutes of the second half, we dominated the game. They were on the ropes. We scored 2 goals, and that coincided with Donny coming on. So I wouldn't be getting rid of Donny. I think Donny quite clearly has had a bad couple of games because he was playing with the second team and it was just, a different vibe. When he came on and played 15 minutes with the first team, and he only had 15 minutes with the first team, I thought the team looked really, really good. So, yeah, I was very, very pleased with Donny today. I wouldn't be moving him on. I think he's a valuable player. And look, McTominay gives you height and physicality. You can't, you know what I will say about Scott McTominay, he wins a lot of headers. And when you've got corners to defend and stuff like that, that's a valuable thing. I think if McTominay was 5'9", he wouldn't be even be in the squad. He gives you physicality and he gives you height, and you can't ignore that. But Donny gives you technique, he gives you movement, and Sometimes you might need to use McTominay. I mean, Burnley have been relegated now, so maybe not. But I wouldn't be moving Donny on. And I think I was worried about Donny after the Melbourne victory game. I was like, what's going on? But that 15-minute cameo today, I just think circumstances have been conspiring against him, and I think he'll be fine. Look how fluid and free we play without Ronaldo, almost though as if we finished second without him. Get rid of him and get a new striker rather, and Chibi, says Rash. I think that's one of the stupidest comments you've ever come out with. And you know why? Because if you want Ronaldo to leave, that's absolutely fine. If you think the team will be better off with Ronaldo in it, that's absolutely fine. If Ronaldo came out tonight and said, I can't stand this club and the fans, I'd still stay what I'm going to stay now. There's absolutely no way Ronaldo was the reason we were shit last year. And if you think that, I don't think football's for you. The reason we were crap last year is because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't buy any midfielders. And he basically left us with a world-class goalkeeper, a world-class striker, a very good attacking midfielder, a winger he didn't even know how to use, and a midfield that was like a bagel. And how can you blame Ronaldo? Most of the games, it was a graveyard shift. Nothing was going on up front. And how is a centre-forward responsible for a midfield being dominated and a defence not marking up properly? Because that's what happened. We didn't get smacked up by Leicester and Watford and Liverpool because of a centre-forward. We lost because we had a crap manager and crap players. I find it. I know people like agendas, and I know people like their agendas to fit reality. But look, even if Ronaldo wiped his arse with the United shirt tonight live on TV, I'd be very angry. But I still wouldn't say he's the reason we were crap last year, because it's just not true. And if your mind works like that, we're in trouble as a fan base, because that is pure agenda, and that's not based on fact at all. If you think we're going to be better under Ten Hag without Ronaldo, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe you think that. But this blame game, I watched those games last year. I don't want to think about them. People were walking in a United shirt. People couldn't be arsed. People were arguing in the dressing room. People were downing tools. People were selfish. That's not on Ronaldo. Chelsea could delay Azpilicueta and bid for Koundé, so Barca trying to sweeten the deal with De Jong, says Asset. If we didn't give players a second chance, we wouldn't have Ronaldo. Remember how much he got booed in his first season, says Matt. Hi Mark, if you had a choice between right back, between Hakimi and Dumfries, who would you choose and why? Depends on the value, triggered Salt. Martial's looking good in this system. Wherever we have possession in around the final third, just imagine how good Ronaldo or GOAT will be, says Joshua. Well, it was interesting as well. Just talking about Martial, I've always been a big fan of Martial. So, just remember that. I've always been a fan of Martial. Before we bought Bruno, my favourite two players, and I've said it so many times over the years, Martial and Rashford, they were always my favourite two players, because I like players that get you on the edge of the seat, and they're both players that do that, or did that. So Martial is one of my favourite players, and has been for a very long time. But I was listening to that interview with James Ducker, and he said you can't rely on Martial. Over the last few years he's been at the club, he's been ridiculously inconsistent. So he's doing really well in pre-season, but you can't base your season on Martial doing well in pre-season. 3 good games in a pre-season against mediocre opposition. Can you build your season around Martial off that? I'm not going to, and I'm a fan of his. If you want to do that, that's up to you. You might be right, but I think it's dangerous. As I said today, Martial's absolutely fine when he's starting up front on his own, but what about when he gets some competition? Will his head drop like it has in the past? We need to bring another striker in. I'm really pleased that Martial's getting a chance. I think it's the right thing to do. We can't sell him anyway, and it'd be wrong to pay his wages for him to go on loan. We don't have that sort of depth, but I'm not running away with anything at the moment. One thing I would... Well, I am. I think Jadon Sancho is definitely going to have an amazing season. I'll be stunned if he doesn't. Beyond him, I think, we're a work in progress, and everybody knows that. Every United player, from Harry Maguire to Malacia to Bruno Fernandes, if you listen to what they're saying, they know they're a work in progress. Ten Hag knows they're a work in progress as well. Arjun says, can Barca and De Jong arrange a contract in which he can join Man United, but they pay his owed wages, but is he allowed to join United? I want to move on from Frankie De Jong, but I will say this. Nobody knows. Man United don't know. He's on tour. Nobody's got a bloody clue when this is going to happen. I think they come back from the tour in about 2 weeks' time. I suspect he won't come back from the tour until then. I don't think there's any prospect of him signing this weekend or next week. I don't think anything's going to happen that very, very, very quickly on that one at all. I did just want to bring this in though. I don't know whether anybody heard this. It was on Talk Sport today. Piers Morgan was on Talk Sport today, and he was talking about Ronaldo, and he was basically hinting that he'd had conversations with Ronaldo or text messages with Ronaldo, and he said it's highly unlikely that he plays another game for Manchester United. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, Piers Morgan in many ways is laughable. I don't really have a problem with the guy. I find him quite funny at times, and I think he's also, he's opinionated, and you've got to applaud that. But the thought of Cristiano Ronaldo telling Nani that he's too busy on holiday to talk about his future, but there he is texting Piers Morgan, just makes me makes me laugh really. But I must say, in relation to Ronaldo, I'm 50-50 on what's going to happen, and it does feel like he really wants to leave. I mean, Spurs news. Cristiano Ronaldo wants to leave Manchester United. I mean, we know he wants to leave Manchester United. But what I will say about Ronaldo, I think the most important thing is here, it doesn't matter. Rash says, Mark, if Ronaldo's so good, how come nobody wants him? But you don't know that's true, mate. You don't know whether that's true. Like, you don't know that that's true. Are you his agent? Are you Manchester United? Are you negotiating his exit? Nobody knows who wants Ronaldo. But we've had a couple of clubs come out and say they don't want him, but nobody knows who wants him. And I find it absolutely ridiculous that Ronaldo would allow it to be put out there that he wants to leave and not know where he's going. So maybe we just don't know that. I think the most important thing in this, which people just want to be completely blinkered about, and this is all I'm going to say about this. Piers Morgan, Ronaldo's transfer request, the reasons for it, whatever. They're all worth a conversation. The most important thing in this is not what I think. It's not what you think. We probably disagree. What's new? The most important thing about Cristiano Ronaldo is what Erik ten Hag has said. And he has consistently said that Ronaldo is a fantastic player. He's excited to work with him, and he's planning to work with him, and he's not for sale. Now, I'm firmly behind Erik ten Hag, and I'm very excited about the future, as are most of you. I don't think he's a liar. Do you think he's a liar? Do you think the manager that you're backing and excited about is lying to you? I don't think he's lying. I think he does think Cristiano Ronaldo is world class. I think he does want to work with Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he is planning on working with Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think he is saying he's not for sale. So, what do you matter, Rash? What do you matter when you say, let's get rid of Ronaldo, he's a bag of shit? What do I matter when I say Ronaldo's the best player we've got and he'll make us better? What do either of us matter? We don't. I'm not the manager. You're not the manager. And I find it interesting that we all sort of try and make out we know what's going on. Oh, no one wants to buy him. Get rid of him, he's shit, he can't press from the front. He's not worth it. He's bad attitude. He's a bad presence in the dressing room. You weren't saying that 4 months ago. 4 months ago, Ronaldo was the hero of the dressing room. It was Harry Maguire and the English lot who were the toxic people. But they're doing well in pre-season now. Now Ronaldo's the villain. You literally have turned 360 on him. But it doesn't matter if you do that. It didn't matter if I did it. The bottom line is, are you calling Erik ten Hag a liar? He's not even managed a competitive game yet, and you're going to call him a liar. The most important thing here is hold your opinions, bloody hold on to them, look after them. That's all you've got. But Erik ten Hag is the manager. And unless you think he's a liar, which is a bad trait, and I don't, he has said, Ronaldo is world class. He's fundamental to my plans. I've planned for next season with Ronaldo, and he's not for sale. And that's all that matters. Because basically, unless you think Erik ten Hag's lying, and why would he values this player as a very, very fundamental part of his team. And he's not for sale. So, Piers Morgan can say it's highly unlikely that Ronaldo plays a game again. Certain United fans can say, get out of our club. Certain United fans can say, we need him, he's fantastic. But the manager says he's not for sale. And the manager has said that he's fundamental to his plans and he's world class. That's the only thing that I'm taking any notice of at the moment. Because I've heard no public statement from Ronaldo. I've heard no public statement that United are going to sell him. All I've heard is from the manager. And you know what? This manager has pretty much done what he said he was going to do from the start. some people don't agree with him obsessing about Frankie de Jong, but he's been very consistent. He hasn't gone, oh, it's getting a bit cagey, let's go and get Neves. He's stuck with de Jong. He's stuck with his style of football from Ajax. To the letter, almost to the letter. The back four, the inverted fullbacks, the wing, the centre-backs that cover the flanks. You know, almost to the letter. High possession, high pass accuracy, high passes, create lots of chances. Done everything that we were excited about. So, look, as I say, have your opinion, but the manager that you profess to back wants this player to stay and use him. Have you seen the interview with Donny van der Beek on Simon Soames? Seemed like a very different guy from the last one, looked quite positive. Yes, Ronald, and I do think that I think that was a very powerful interview that Donny gave, and I think the club picked up on that, and I think there has been conversations, and I think Ten Hag's had a conversation with him as well, because he looked like a lamb lost when he spoke to Adam, didn't he? And it was, you know, it was very powerful, and I think today we've got a completely different Donny, and it's confidence, isn't it? You've got to, you know, Ten Hag probably can't appreciate the trauma he went through under Solskjaer. And I always remember Luke Shaw saying about Van der Beek that he trains so well in training, I don't know why he's not playing games, and words to that effect. And, you know, Eric Bailly's been through this. Eric Bailly put some leak out, didn't he, in January, or he was linked to a leak back in January that, you know, certain centre-backs, I think Harry Maguire was mentioned, or it might have been Lindelof, were being picked for no other reason that they were a favourite of the manager. You know, I think Van der Beek went through that as well. So he's not inheriting the player from Ajax. He's inheriting damaged goods. And it's like that puppy I was on about earlier who doesn't trust people. He's got to nurture him. He's got to build his confidence back. And I think today will have done him the world of good. Whilst I don't think Erik Ten Hag is lying, he was surely briefed to say Ronaldo is not for sale by the press officer. His hands are tied, says Julian. But he's lying then. He's lying. Why would he lie? Why would Erik Ten Hag sit in an interview and lie about Cristiano Ronaldo, saying he's not for sale and he's a massive part of my plans and I've been planning for him and he's world class? You don't need to go. I disagree. I don't think he's got any reason to lie, and you're effectively calling him a liar. I said this last night. Erik Ten Hag can't lose this battle because it's his first big battle. If we sell Ronaldo, he's lied. He's not for sale, and we sell him. It's not even that he's lied. He's lost. He loses a battle publicly. As a Man United manager, you can't lose these battles. If you say Ronaldo's not for sale and he's part of your plans, you've got to stay. Because if Ronaldo goes, Ronaldo wins, and Erik Ten Hag looks weak. You know, he's got to win this, and I think he will. I really do. I think he will win it. We'll have to wait and see. I don't get the Ronaldo hate from our fans. It baffles me the amount of this man has done for our club, past and present. He wants what the fans want. Success, says Jordan. But you know what, Jordan? It goes back to what I was saying at the start. I don't even need to guarantee. I've had a look at some of the tweets. These people who are blaming the United stand or me because Maguire gets booed, I've checked the timeline. They're slagging off Ronaldo. Just make it make sense. Make it make sense. Welcome to Members Club, JC, and Devonsh. Welcome. Thank you for being a member for 4 months. One thing I didn't mention, and I must mention it because I think it's a great point. And it's not my point. I'm not being arrogant. I mentioned how the obsession from. I mentioned how in the interview with James Ducker, he mentioned this almost obsession that Erik Ten Hag has with Frankie de Jong, and he likened it to the obsession that Jurgen Klopp had with Van Dijk, and how he didn't get him in the summer, but he waited and didn't want anybody else and got him in the January. Look, I hope that works that way, because you can have a similarity in how you recruit a player that you really want, but look at what Van Dijk did for Liverpool. Klopp was right. He was absolutely right. But he also went on to say how, he was talking about how United have played, James Ducker, and he said, the best coaches improve players. Well, it got me thinking again, like, the reason we're better than... look, God, I don't want to take you down, I don't want to remind you of a nightmare, but did you not see United against Brighton at the end of the season and Palace at the end of the season? All due respect to Brighton and Palace, they're not big hitters in the Premier League. They're good on their day, but they're mid-table at best. And they annihilated Manchester United in them last 2 games of the season, like many other teams did before, Watford, Leicester, whatever, right? We were absolutely terrible. The football we played was a joke. The effort levels were a joke. The chemistry was a joke. We were an absolute disgrace. You look at us today, you look at the possession, you look at the way we move the ball about, and you look at the 3 goals. They were clean. They were clean team goals. We'd really struggled to do that last year. That's because of the coach. That's coaching. That's pure and simple coaching. You need the players to... Look, if Ten Hag had been the coach last year and the players had put the effort in they did last year, we'd struggle. We would. You've got to have the effort from the players. You've got to have the intensity from the players. But the contrast in last season with pre-season is the coaching. And James Ducker said that, Klopp has this ability to, the best coaches make players better. And I've always said this about Jurgen Klopp. Their recruitment is amazing. You can take Jota, who was good at Wolves, and make him look bordering on world class at Liverpool. You can take Mane from Southampton and do the same. You can take Van Dijk from Southampton and do the same. You can take Andy Robertson from Hull and do the same. You can take, Trent Alexander-Arnold from the youth setup and do the same. Jurgen Klopp has this amazing ability to up level players. If you're average, he'll make you very good. If you're very good, he'll make you world class. And sometimes he'll even make an average player world class. Like, good coaches improve players. This is really important with Erik ten Hag because we all know it, but we also need to think about it, because if we've got a coach that can do that, we've not had a coach that can do that for probably... I mean, look, one manager that could do it was Van Gaal. Hi, Mark. If we sign De Jong, Antony and the other signings we have made before the tour, do you think Ronaldo would stay and fight for 4th and win the Europas as Leighton? I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with Ronaldo. Ronaldo is the only thing that can help our team reach the elite level with Ten Hag. There's no other good striker we can buy, says Jeren. I think the reason Ollie wouldn't play Donny was that Ollie was so terrified to take a risk as was lacking self-confidence in his role as manager. Stick or twist, he stuck every time, says Rory. Yeah, he just didn't. He wasn't a coach, was he? It would be a disgrace if Chelsea, Spurs and Arsenal outspend United, considering United's revenue is far more than those clubs. Also considering we had our worst season ever, says Shuven. And De Jong will come and Ronaldo will stay. We still need a striker and a player like Antony. With that, we could be in the top 4, says RGO. I think our only realistic chance of getting top 4 is keeping Ronaldo, signing De Jong and buying Antony. I think without those 3 things happening, it will be quite difficult for us. But I just want to drill down on this point because it's a really exciting point. Solskjaer didn't coach players, and I'll argue this with anybody. No player under Solskjaer got better. That's a hell of a bad statement for Manchester United over 3 years. No player got better. Whether it was McTominay, Bruno, Rashford, Martial, Maguire, new signings or current players, nobody got visibly better. At someone like Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea, these players, or even Brighton, players get better because they've got good coaches. I don't think Mourinho really made players better either. It's not really his thing. Mourinho likes to have a team very quickly, be successful, then get out. In fairness to Van Gaal, I think some players did get better. I think he bought Martial and turned him into a very good player. There were others as well. But we haven't had a coach at United who improves players for 5 years. Easily 5 years. Maybe even longer. We've now got a manager, who is a good coach who improves players. The question is, how many can he improve and by how much? Can he improve Fred, McTominay, Shaw, Delot, Maguire, Lindelof, Martial, Rashford, Sancho, Bruno? Can he improve over 10 players? I think he can. Can he make them all go up 2 levels? No. He can't make the average ones be world class, and he can't make the top class ones be legends of the game. He can't do that. But he will improve some of them. And I'll tell you what, and I'll tell you for free, that's more than we've had for 5 years. We finally got a manager who improves players. The question will be how many and by how much. But for the last 5 years, we haven't improved anyone because we haven't had a coaching setup to do it. It amazes me it's took United this long to do it, but it's a huge positive. And I'm not just talking about style of play. The style of play of Ten Hag, Mourinho's style of play is very distinctive. He didn't improve players in it. He just played that style of play. Ten Hag's style of play is distinctive. It's high possession. It's lots of shots. It's a high line. It's lots of passing. It's lots of other things. But he also improves players. And that is going to be so important because we haven't done this. And that is why when you talk about a Harry Maguire or you talk about a Marcus Rashford or you talk about a Bruno Fernandes, you cannot write these players off because you don't know if they're going to improve under a manager that can coach them. And that's why I never would have sold any of those players. I'd like to have seen a sacrificial lamb. I'd like to have seen us sell somebody and everyone's mouth drops. But ultimately, the players to sell were the players that should be sold. Pogba had to go because he was out of contract. Matic, Cavani, Lingard, Mata, they had to go. They're out of contract. Twansebi, Brandon Williams, Wan-Bissaka, maybe Bailly. There's 5 or 6 other players that need to go. But I don't think this was the summer to remove a Luke Shaw or a Scott McTominay or a Fred or a Maguire or a Lindelof or a Rashford or a Bruno. I know some of you would have done, and maybe they deserve to be, but I don't think that was the summer to do it, because those players, in their many different ways, do have potential, and you want to see if you can unlock it. So we've got the manager to do that now. I think that's really exciting. This is what I think Ten Hag can do. Improve players to a new level. This is what we need to remember. De Jong and Antony also became under Ten Hag, says Ray. Mark, do you have the lingering fear if Ten Hag fails to get his targets and misses top 4, the board will jump the gun, says Rash. No, I don't. I don't, because you know what? This is what I always said about Solskjaer towards the end. He was protected because he was a club legend, and we probably kept him too long because of that, because the fans loved him, and I still do love Solskjaer. And I think the club loved Solskjaer because he protected the board for so long, because nobody'd go for the club because you had to go through Solskjaer to do it. But you don't need to be a club legend to do that. And I get very similar vibes with Erik Ten Hag. I think Erik Ten Hag is nobody to nobody. He's never played for Man United. He's never managed in the Premier League. He's Dutch. He's got no touch point with Manchester United up until when he became manager in May. And yet, from that point, even before that point and now, there is an affection towards this manager. Not because he played for Man United. Not because he's, got an outward personality and he's box office when he talks. The reason United fans have affection for Erik Ten Hag is because he plays football the way we want to play, and he's got the principles and personality in his coaching and his obsessiveness and his standards of what we have. It doesn't matter whether he's a great guy to go and have a pint with. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he's got a lot of loyalty behind him. A lot of loyalty. And it comes from respect. He's not won the Champions League. He's not won the Premier League. He's not coming in like Mourinho. He's coming in as an Eredivisie coach, and it's all about respect. It's all about the way he plays football. And I don't think United will find it easy to get rid of him. I don't predict this fan base is going to turn on him very quickly. I think that last season changed a lot of things. Last season was the first season I've seen in a long time, probably in my life, where the players got thrown under the bus at any club. I mean, I don't remember it happening at any club. It's always the manager. It's always Mourinho or Van Gaal or Moyes. It's always the manager. Even though the players are responsible, it's always the manager and the players get a second chance. Last year was revolutionary because I've not seen it at many clubs and I've never seen it at United. The fans were shouting at grounds, "You're not fit to wear the shirt." The fans had enough of the players. That's very, very rare. And there has been a revolution at United. And I'll tell you for free, they're desperate to turn it around. That's why people are moaning about the booing again, because they want the fans, they want the players to have the power again. The players have lost the power. The players are now almost cap in hand with the fans, like me. And that's how it should be. Because you play for United. This is Manchester United. The fans are more important than you. The club and the history is more important than you. We'd lost that way for many years. The players just had the power. They can get rid of a manager. They can go to the board. They can dictate to the fans. They lost it last year. There was a revolution. And it's very hard to change that. The admin of United can keep dropping out the winning team photos, but, we'll smile, we'll like them, but we also know what they stand for last year. So I don't see the club being able to get rid of Ten Hag that easy. Because if it did go wrong, it's so fresh from last year. Imagine if Ten Hag lost 5 of his first 8 games. Do you think people would be saying Ten Hag? There might be some fans, there might be some in the media, but I think the vast majority would go, it's not his fault. He's shown what he's trying to do. It's these players. So I think Ten Hag's in a good position. I think he's got very firm backing from the fans. I think the players would be the ones who would get the blame again first. And I don't think the club would want to rock the boat on a manager that the fans don't want to be sacked. So I think he's got time. I mean, there's no guarantees. If he did really badly and it all fell apart, then obviously people would look at him if it was obvious. But I think he's got the perfect perfect place to do good. My big concern at the moment is what the board are doing. We need to get these players in. Like, he cannot go into next season with the squad that he's got. Hi, Rash. You really think I don't have any offers? Says Ronaldo. Just watch and wait. Also, Ronaldo's got goals in him. Definitely worth keeping, says Cal. Welcome to the United Stand Members Club, Sharon. And hi, Mark. I get small flashbacks to Sir Alex. He had some players that was average, like O'Shea, Brown, Fletcher, but can still have success, says Chelsea. You know what? I'm very positive about United at the moment. I don't take a lot of notice of pre-season. That's not Ten Hag's fault. It's not the players' fault. I've seen United be dreadful on pre-season and win the league. And I've seen United be brilliant in pre-season and have a bad season. So you can't take pre-season as anything. But you can be positive about the way we're playing and what he's trying to do. My big concern at the moment is depth. We just don't have the depth in midfield or the attack. We need to buy players. And I've watched many a season in the past, and I'm sure you have as well. The modern game, I always talk about the PSG Real Madrid final of a few years ago, where I looked at the bench and went, basically, they've got another team. That's what you have to have. In the modern game, you've got to have a big squad. And at the moment, our squad is lacking in the midfield and in the attack. And if this board doesn't deliver that depth, it doesn't matter how hard we press, and it doesn't matter how much we impress. We won't finish in the top four and we won't win the Europa League, because we'll come up short next March and April, when these players that are giving everything at the start and then go into a World Cup and then get tired at the end of the season, they'll be dropping like flies. And that will happen in March and April. So we need some squad depth, because otherwise all the excitement, all the planning, all the buzz will disappear when suddenly, and we always get this as well, we've always had this anyway, there'll be some big injury crisis. So there we go. Thanks everyone for watching anyway. I've really enjoyed the show tonight. I hope you have as well. It's a hot night. It's been a long day. All I'm going to say to you is thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We're on that road to 400k now. And please do watch the interview with James Ducker. It's only been out a few hours. It's really good on the latest transfer situation with United. Writes for the Telegraph. Fantastic journalist. Really close to the club as well. And we've also got the interview with Charlie Savage that was good. Thanks everyone for watching. Really good show. Take care. Stay safe. And I'll speak to you all. What day is it? It's Wednesday tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to that Villa game, by the way. I think it's going to be the toughest game of our tour. Palace were weak today. They had a lot of players missing. Melbourne victory, all due respect. Liverpool, they were, first game. I think Villa on Saturday is going to be a big test, and I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit.